Hello, I'm Joel Blackford with Beth Esset Sabbath Fellowship. We are not meeting right now. We'll give you the signal if we ever meet again, and you'll probably know anyway. Be home safe now and be healthy through this time. May God bless you and your family. So, third seal. I'm trying to justify the fact that we are in the third seal right now and waiting for the fourth seal. I tend to talk more about the fourth seal, but there's a food crisis going on right now. You're just not seeing it yet, but it's going to hit, and it's going to hit hard. So my presumption is that Seal 1 opened and it's been destroying the West since 1967. Seal 2 opened to the east and that has caused war, like kicking a hornet's nest east of Jerusalem. Seal 3 is north and we're experiencing that right now. These are the birth pangs from Matthew 24. They're very similar. And so am I twisting the Bible to get to that point or am I actually legitimately understanding it? Is this real prophecy or fake prophecy? Is this the news or just whatever I'm making up? Let's go ahead and figure it out. So back to 1967, Israel marches into the holy space, the Jerusalem, and conquers it and conquers the Temple Mount. And immediately, Moshe Dayan, the military leader, says, no, we're going to hand this back. We have returned to the holiest of our places, never to be parted from them again. We did not come to conquer the sacred sites of others or to restrict their religious rights, but rather to ensure the integrity of the city and to live in it with others in fraternity. That's never happened, so that's a lie. And then down below in the red again, to prepare a special force, loyal and disciplined, that will use without mercy a machine gun against any Jew who tries to rob or desecrate a holy place, Christian or Muslim. Well, so basically the Jews have been badgered since this time. And so the picture is Shlomo Goren blowing the shofar, reading the Torah there near the holiest site, and then Moshe Dayan down below in the middle there, basically saying, we're going to live in peace, but they haven't lived in peace. And they gave up the Temple Mount. And so as a result, Western civilization has just fallen apart since 1967 with hippies and groupies. Just all the dregs of society has popped out since 1967. And guess what? Those people are the ones running our government right now. They're the Bernie Sanders of the world and the Hillary Clintons that just run up the deficit and spend money on abortion. And they spend money on death, but never on life. So that's what the first seal is all about. It's not life. It's all anti-life. And that's what we've seen since 1967. Abortion rights and birth control, and nothing celebrating life. So then 2001, we have 9/11. So you see the picture there. And then shortly after that, we see George W. Bush celebrating mission accomplished. No, he kicked the hornet's nest. His father did. He did it too in Iraq. And you can see the hornet's nest up above. They kicked in Iraq. They kicked in Afghanistan, Libya, Syria. Syria is still a mess to this day. And these guys have blood on their hands, the Bush family. It's pathetic. So that is the second seal east of Jerusalem. And let's go through the seals then. So next I watched as the Lamb broke the first of the seven seals, and I heard one of the four living beings say in a thundering voice, "Go!" And I looked, and there in front of me was a white horse. That's west. Its rider had a bow and was given a crown. So the bow is basically from Genesis 9:3, when Noah saw the bow up in the sky. That's the rainbow. And so that's the connection there, pro-life, anti-life, okay? And given a crown, and the rainbow in the sky has unlimited colors. The rainbow on the earth that the people use in their celebrations is 6 colors. That's it, 6 of man. The crown, Stephanos, is not Jesus. It's not Jesus. He would not wear a Stephanos. He's not a winner, per se. He would be wearing a diadem. This is a Stephanos. So when you hear these people running around screaming, "That's Jesus," it's not. It's a Stephanos. Deal with it. And he rode off as a conqueror and to conquer. That is not the church. Okay, that's just another spirit, because you're going to see in the next one, just down below there, the second seal, that's east. And I heard the second living being say, "Go." And another allos in the Greek, which is like saying it's just the same as the other horse. There's no difference. So the first one is not the Antichrist and it's not Jesus. Deal with it. So the other horse went out, the allos horse, the red one. And the rider was given power to take away peace away from the earth, and to make people slaughter each other. And he was given a great sword, a Bakira. And that is a short sword, but it's a great one in this case, because it just foments war across the world. And the Bushes did that, and Cheney for that matter too. Then he broke the third seal, and I heard the living being say, "Go." And I looked, in front of me was a black horse, north. and you should expect famine and crop failure and other things like that. And we're starting to see those signs now. And the writer held in his hand a pair of scales. That means judgment. And I heard what sounded like a voice from among the four living beings saying, 2 pounds of wheat for a day's wages, 6 pounds of barley for the same price, but don't damage the oil or the wine. Well, so basically the poor people are going to notice it, and they are right now. They are. The wealthy are not. If you work for the United States House or Senate, you're wealthy. You have great health care. You just got a pay raise. And I mean, it's ridiculous. And the poor people are suffering right now. And we know that. So here's the prophecy, and here's why I believe. And this is really the only one that I can absolutely say occurred in 2012. So during the summer of 2012, I was busy finishing my book. I met a young man named Chris at our Sabbath fellowship in Hudson, Wisconsin. He claimed that God gave him a message for the pastor and the elders. Well, that was enough for me to work on him. I said, come on, we publish with the same publisher, uh, and I'm an eschatologist. And he wouldn't tell me. Finally, he did, and he said there will be a catastrophic storm this fall after Sukkot. So that's in October, but before the end of October, because Sukkot in 2012 was in October. The sign of this will be a storm, and a snow and a broom. Snow and a broom, whatever that means, okay? And after prodding, he also stated the third seal opened this summer. So that was cool. And so I wrote it in my book, and I was wrong because I didn't wait for the second witness. You always wait for the second or the third witness for that matter. So in this case, a few months later, my friend Mark walked up to me and said, do you want to know what this is all about? And I said, what do you mean? He said, this is about 1 Kings 12. God asked him about 9/11 time to read 1 Kings 12. And for that matter, because I was working on Chris to give me the story, go ahead and read 1 Kings 13 too. It'll intrigue you. So this is about Rehoboam down in the southern kingdoms with the 2.5 tribes down there saying, whatever my father did, I'm going to do it much worse than him. And so Jeroboam said, we have nothing to do with these people, so we'll set up our own Sukkot, a false Sukkot up north with 9.5, 10 tribes up there. The first storm was Sandy on 10/31, which was Halloween, and that was Hurricane Sandy coming through. The first day of Jeroboam's anti-Sukkot festival. On the seventh day, that was 11/6, that was the election, and that showed we were divided. So we had Romney versus Obama, and we were divided. We hated each other, we couldn't believe that Obama won again, and so then we waited, and then the next day, that was the big day. And that's when the snow and the broom came through, and that was all part of the same storm. So it was Sandy that caused it, but it destroyed Wall Street and parts of New Jersey too. And so it was a Wall Street storm. And that was God saying, repent, Wall Street, but Wall Street didn't repent. So that's in 2012. Now, since 2012, we've gone 8 years, and I never thought we'd go this far. I thought we would hit the fourth seal sooner. But this is from Christian, who runs a YouTube site called the Ice Age Farmer. And so he's basically citing Yahoo News, which is saying we've got supply chain risks right now, that it's breaking down, and we're losing fruits and vegetables. All of the supply chains are falling apart. That's the first thing in the upper left-hand side. Then on the upper right, China can't feed itself. We have food wars going on where certain nations are cutting off shipments. So down lower left, we've got Vietnam stockpiling rice and saying we aren't going to ship to anybody. So they just shut down, and they're number 4 in the world for shipping out rice. So they shut it off and said we're going to keep it here because they know that they'll be starving soon enough. China may have beaten coronavirus, but now it could be facing a food crisis. That's lower middle. And so they know it's coming. And then on the lower right, Christian is stating again that there are these tweets of all of these problems with milk being dumped and foods being dumped and fresh produce being dumped and things like that. So this is Ice Age Farmer. If you want to hear this report, you can. He's rather interesting to listen to. He does a good job of telling you that you need seeds, and the government won't let you buy seeds right now. This is an article from the Epoch Times. They are not communist Chinese. These are more democratic Chinese that have escaped from Hong Kong. And they are a wonderful source. I cite them all the time. So they're wearing masks as they shop because they know that there are shortages on dairy, meat, eggs, fruit, veggies, dry goods. It's coming. And it's panic buying time across China. So they know that they need to get there and buy whatever they need, and because it's going to be gone. And then over in the United States, as I stated, they're dumping milk and they're restricting on dairy, meat, eggs, fruit, veggies, dry goods. It's all going to be restricted. You are going to see your food prices go through the roof right now based on COVID-19. So this is once again Christian talking about the fact that um, they're killing the cattle market here. They're killing the chicken market because they don't have enough food going to the chickens. They're sitting in their cages and you don't have any chicken feed for them, so they're going to die. Okay, and so then they can't process them. You've got JBS in Grand Island, Nebraska, that they have a few people testing positive for COVID-19, so you shut the plant down. Okay, so that's ag news. Then Greeley, Colorado. People are testing positive for COVID-19, so they shut that plant down. And then Purdue workers walk off the job, say the company failed to sterilize the chicken plant during the pandemic. So things are being shut down. Food prices are going to go through the roof. Or can you even get the food? The wealthy people won't notice this, but the poor will. Then these are 300 million chickens at the edge of death in Hubei, which is China, because they can't get chicken feed shipped. Then food supply is the next virus headache. And so basically, states are banning sales of seeds, which is horrific. Meat packers are closed. Food is shut down. And then key food prices are surging after virus upends supply chains. And then seed garden sales as food supply falters as the milk is being dumped and the food supply is falling apart. So that means hungry anarchists because these people are not going to be happy. Okay. And then look at this. You've got CNN saying, well, the farm workers are working. Well, not as much as before because they can't even get into the country to work. Okay. So yes, those that are here are working hard, but do you think you could get your standard American, your college educated American to go out and pick fruit all day long or pick vegetables? Nah, wouldn't happen. They'd rather starve. So then on the other side, global trade sputters, leaving too much here, too little there. That's the New York Times. Factories are idled. Workers are on lockdown. Goods are piling up at some ports. While elsewhere, container ships sailed empty. Dairy farmers are dumping their milk. Toilet paper aisles at the grocery store are picked bare. The spread of the coronavirus has disrupted global supply chains. And that's the truth. I can't believe they're actually reporting the truth. I don't even read these guys anymore, but I just needed some filler in here. So, in addition to dumping the food and not being able to ship the food and not be able to pick the food and buy the food for that matter, locusts are cutting across the Horn of Africa. So they're cutting up through South Sudan, Kenya, Somalia, Ethiopia, through Yemen. Yemen has been destroyed by the two different factions going on there. There has been wars there for years. Oman's being destroyed, then Iraq, and Iran and Pakistan, and then it'll hit India eventually and China too. And this is 20-fold worse than 2019, so more locusts do. Okay, and then floods on the other side, severe floods, worst locust invasion in 50 years, plus the floods, plus food scarcity, plus COVID-19, and the vaccinations, and it's just gonna be a mess here coming up in 2020. So I want to mention this to you because I believe that we're in the seals. This is the third seal. This is one of those rare times when I found somebody that agrees with me. This guy from evidenceunseen.com says, this is very Hebraic. This is a Hebraic way of thinking to tell a story, then retell it, that the seals open up before you go in. They're the birth pangs, then the Great Tribulation are the trumpets and the bowls. I agree. So we've gone through one, I've explained that to you, and two, and I believe we're in three right now. We're waiting for signs of the fourth seal. COVID-19 is not the sign. You need 1.9444 billion deaths to occur. It's not going to get there with COVID, even if it is asymptomatic in people and then kicks out again. So then martyrdom after that. Seal 6 is a great earthquake and figs falling like Sodom and Gomorrah and Egypt. Then the two witnesses show up about that time as you're in seal 6. The seventh seal is a half an hour of silence, and then it opens up to produce the 7 trumpets. The 7 trumpets, first 4 are just trumpets, and they're organic. They're explainable. It's a third of this, a third of that, third. Things burn up or die or decay or whatever else. Then you get to the woes, the 3 woes, and they're horrific. Those are the last 3 trumpets. You add the 3 woes together with the final 7 bowls, and you get 10, which is Egypt. And at that time, just before the bowls, as they, just minutes before them opening up, the two witnesses of Revelation would die and sit there for 3.5 days and then be resurrected. And then the Antichrist would show up. Now, he's alive right now, but you wouldn't see him until the bowls, the last half. And that's how it works out with Daniel. So this should be prophetic. This should be accurately interpreting that the birth pangs are occurring right now. Then we go into the tribulation of 3.5 years, and then great tribulation of 3.5 years. And I don't know when they start. It doesn't matter. But I can pick out what's going on. So if you memorize this slide and look for these events occurring, like if you see 1.94444 billion people, and then you see silence in heaven. I don't know how you see that, but then you start to see the trumpets and two witnesses show up. You're going to realize that this chart is accurate. If I'm inaccurate, I will apologize. So, once again, the fourth seal, when you see the sign of it, 1.9444444.25 billion deaths, and you will possibly see Comet Atlas show up like a green comet in the sky. This is the green seal, okay? And it'll look just like a long sword. It's a rhamphea in the Greek. And then you'll see the other signs. So there's the big four in this case. So it's supernatural, which is the rhamphea sword, which is what killed 70,000 with David when he was taking the census. And then it also killed a bunch of, I think it was Syrians. Sennacherib, I think, was killed. I think that was 185,000. That was a lot to lose with the big sword, the rhamphea sword. Then Lemos, or Limo, it would be drought. And then death is Thanatos, which is also the name of the fourth seal being. And then biowarfare, I think we have more to come. It's not just this coronavirus, COVID-19. There's going to be more coming. But all totaled, it should be like basically 450 million per each one of these four, which totals up to about 1.94444 billion deaths. Interesting. So that's the fourth seal. Then the fifth seal is martyrdom, and sixth seal is burning figs and earthquake, and we'll see when that happens. Once again, this is my outline of how I believe the first seal opened up with Moshe Dayan, the Cheney and Bush consortium bringing war, the second seal, Hurricane Sandy and Jeroboam's false Sukkot, and the third seal, the fourth seal we're waiting for, then the fifth seal, martyrdom, and then the sixth seal. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Be blessed, be safe, be careful, and stay alive, people. We'll talk to you next time.